Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Tel Aviv, but very difficult day for the Israelis and actually for the Jewish people as well. I will talk about it. That too will take us to the Jewish quarter, but will be with lots of information. And the end of it, we will end the tour at the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall. Then are you ready for that? Yes, you are. Then welcome to the old city. We are in front of Jaffa Gate. The city was surrounded with walls, as you can see right here. Except of here, the German Kaiser asked the Ottomans to open a road in the city that his carriage will be able to enter to the city. He didn't want his wife to walk into the city like the other people. And from that moment, we do have a road in Jerusalem, but be careful while you are walking at the old city. The city walls was surrounded with lots of beautiful houses. The British didn't like it and then turned it around when they arrived in the city in 1917, and they even destroyed the Ottoman clock tower that used to be above Jaffa Gate. If you've been in Jaffa, I'm sure that you saw one of the clock towers. Then let's enter the city through the main gate. And on the way, you can always buy yourself a beautiful bagel. It's called Jerusalem bagel. And if you like dates, cake, which is not so sweet, it's sweet but not so, then you can do that. We will enter into the city. As you can see, you cannot go straight into the city because the gates were built for enemies. Then you have to turn left. Welcome to the old city. It is sunny day. Short sleeves. It's okay, but it's not so humid. And it's actually excellent. The sun will be in our eyes, but that's life. Then, in 1948, United Nations declared two countries: Israel, after many years without independence, and Palestine, that used to be another name of Israel. And Palestine from 1948 will represent the Arab city. Let me tell you that my mother, she's not with us, but she was a Palestinian woman, a Jewish one. About the word Palestine, we might talk about it later on, but I want you to understand that Jerusalem, the old city, wasn't supposed to be part of Israel, and not part of Palestine. Why? Because the United Nations declare of that city as a neutral place, belongs to the United Nations. Sadly, in 1948, the Arabs and the Jordanians occupied the old city. Then until 1967, me and my father, my mother, as Israeli citizens, couldn't visit the old city. Now we are right here at Jaffa Gate. At that side, you can see the Tower of David, which is actually a fortress that King Herod built, mainly because from there you could see every part of the old city. This is the highest place of the old city. We have four neighborhoods here. We will walk today through the Armenian and the Jewish quarter to the Western Wall, but there are two more quarters: the Christian quarter, which is from here to the left, and the Muslim quarter, which is the biggest quarter, which is that way. And I do have so many videos about it. If I'm talking about that, did you subscribe my channel? Are you part of my family? Please, if you didn't do that, do that. The big area here is the Temple Mount, or Al-Aqsa, Haram al-Sharif. That is a huge debate. The Jewish temple was there, and now it's the place that Muhammad ascended into heaven. It's a Muslim site today. Then let's walk through the city. This is a very important day for the Israelis, as I mentioned before. It's a memorial day for the fallen soldiers of the war of Israel and the victims of action of terrorism. And we're talking a lot of people from 1860. 24,213 soldiers were killed, and 4,255 terror victims. Well, we do have lots of terror victims from 1860, and why from 1860? Because this is the beginning of the Zionist movement. Few options. If you will continue that route, you will reach the Western Wall and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Very easy. But you know that in my toes nothing is easy. What you can see here is a beautiful tower that King Herod built, and the moat is part of the Crusader time, 12th century. Everyone who controlled the city controlled that place because it's the highest place in the city. From there you can control the whole city. Today it's a beautiful museum, and they modernize it. Lately they're still doing it. And there's a nice night Sunday light. Beautiful to see at least once in your lifetime, but not more than that. Then the entrance is from there. You can climb up to see an amazing view of the city, or instead of it, you can enter to here, Christian Information Center, and use the elevator for 5 shekels, and you will see an amazing view, and you can even buy yourself a coffee. Why I think that that place is better than that? Because until they will build an elevator, all people will find themselves looking at the stairs, and they will look at me and say, we are not doing it. Then in that case, now you do have an option, at least until they will build a nice elevator lift. The Jews here in the Jewish quarter, we are talking about around 2,500 people, not more than that. Most of them are old people and children. Used to be under a siege by the Arabs for 6 months. I'm talking about 1948, and you can see the bus station here. The only connection was with bus number 2, which is still functioning. But when the Arab decided, after the British, not to let people enter to the Jewish quarter, they blocked. They stopped that bus, and the bus couldn't be moved, couldn't enter to the Jewish quarter. If we're talking about beautiful bakery, then it's here. It belongs to the Christ Church, and they have excellent cakes. And not only excellent cakes, they have excellent people like him. Then enjoy it. But we are on the way to the Jewish quarter. Just enter to the Armenian quarter. Here you can see the Israeli police station that used to be before that a British police station, that used to be before that Turkish Ottoman police station. It's called the Kishle, and there's a group here, but I just want to go there to show you that at the time of King Herod, that was part of King Herod Palace. And right there you can see one of the pools that King Herod built himself that surrounded the whole city, his palace. Now, let's continue to the old city, to the Jewish quarter, but through the Armenian. The Armenian, just like the Jews, suffered a lot. In 1915, 1.5 million Armenians were killed by the Turkish of the day, the Ottomans at that time, and sadly not everyone accepted yet. Beautiful Armenian pottery. I must say that it's very local. In Armenia, I didn't see it. I know that here they study it, and they have an amazing thing art. Look how beautiful it is. I like it. I don't know about you. The sign there said, "Please end the siege of Azerbaijan of 120,000 Armenians in Artsakh," which is part of Armenia, according to the Armenian, according to the word. A lot of debate. It reminds me exactly the problems here in Israel. Who, what belongs to whom? This time I decided to enter to the Jewish quarter through the main entrance, but I'm not sure that the tour will take you direct to the Western Wall. Look at the art, pottery art of the Armenians, and in some places you can even study it for 2-3 hours or even more than that. I remember a demand tells us again about what's happened here in 1915. The symbol that you see there, it's part of the museum, Genocide Museum of the capital of Armenia in Yerevan, and flower is a symbol of please remember us. Then, if we will continue straight ahead, we will reach the Mount Zion, the tomb of King David, the room of the Last Supper, but this time we are turning left through St. James Street. St. James is very important for the Armenian, it's very important for every Christian, but according to the Armenian, St. James, the brother, which is the first bishop of Jerusalem, and St. James, the disciple, is buried there. Yeah, I know. Oh, look at that big parade. Remember, it's a Memorial Day, and they are heading, as I believe, to one of the ceremonies. It's a big group of Orthodox Jews. In the Orthodox community, you are separated, the men and women. Then it's only men. As you can see, on the wall around the Armenian quarter, you might see some. Someone must be the last one. You must see some maps of the story of the Armenian genocide. Then the Armenian quarter is to your right side, and I must say to your left side as well. Soon you will see the Jewish quarter being destroyed by the Arabs in 1948, and the Jewish quarter is actually new. New? Not so. Why not so? Because in 1967, when the Israelis came to the old city, they excavate beneath the Jewish quarter, and they found beautiful places from the time of Jesus, from the time of King Herod, 1st century. That used to be the priest neighborhood of Jerusalem. This is the upper city, and you will understand why it's the upper city soon. Because to go to the temple, we have to go all the way down to the valley. Then old stones, and in front of you can see already a new building. The foundation are, you can see a little bit old stones there, but most of it is new. This is the Jewish quarter. Before we build the Jewish quarter, we excavated, and you can see Eyal. Hello, Eyal. Amazing Spanish and English tour guide. As I heard, he was speaking in Spanish. Then Armenian Quarter, Jewish Quarter. Can you see the difference between old and new? There's a lovely museum that you can actually enjoy it even if you don't speak Hebrew, because it's in English as well. The Old Settlement Museum. Worth visiting, I must say. Worth visiting. Sadly, they didn't allow me to take some pictures. Then I don't have videos of it. We're entering now to the center of the Jewish Quarter. Here, Israel left for us part of the excavation, and you will see a street from the 6th century built by the Romans. It used to be a Roman city, and in a Roman city, there's always a main street from north, which is that way, to south. It's called the Cardo. It's very easy name to remember because when you're going to a doctor who deals with the heart, you're going to the cardiologic. Then in that case, the heart of the city is in front of you. This is only a small part of it. What you can see here are shops and the pavement that was covered with a wooden roof against the snow. Yes, it snows here from time to time. Against the rain and against the sun, which is the biggest enemy here. The road started from here and ended. You can see the scooter, the yellow scooter, ended there. Then the Cardo, and in front of you, you can see a minaret, which is a Muslim mosque. What a Muslim mosque is doing in the Jewish Quarter. There's so many stories about it, but when someone is actually controlling the city, he wants the people to know, I am the one who controls it. Then in front of the most important synagogue, you could see mosques, and in front of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, in two ways, you will see two mosques, which are actually controlling the church, and it's not good or bad. This is life. You can see two synagogues. Those two synagogues, Tiferet Israel and I call it the ruined synagogue. Those two been destroyed by the Jordanians in 1948. The first one who been destroyed here is Tiferet Israel immediately when the Jordanians and the Arabs entered to the Jewish Quarter after they kick out all the people who've been here, and that is been destroyed later on. That one was rebuilt again in 2010, and Tiferet Israel, they're still building it, and they decided to renew it or to rebuild it a few years ago, and they're still doing it. From there, when you will come, it will be ready. The best view of Jerusalem, of the Temple Mount and Mount of Olives will be. Then I will be the first one who will climb up when it will be ready, when they will open it to the public. But if you want to go to the Western Wall, straight ahead, right there. But I'm taking you to see another area. In 1948, when the Arabs and the Jordanians occupied the Jewish Quarter, most of the people, the Jews, went straight into the synagogue, which you will see too. It's called the four Sephardic synagogues, and wider because it was a low place. You will see how low it is soon, and it was safer at that time. When the Jordanians occupied it, they let the civilian to go out from Zion Gate, which is not so far away from here, and they took all the soldiers, around 40 people, to prison in Amman, Jordan. Oh, the peace of life. Sorry. You can see why it's a low place, why it was safer sorry, to hide here. The four Sephardic synagogues were built at the 16th century by a pyramid of the Turkish, the Ottoman. Oh, sorry, I think I need to drink something, then I will do that soon. And the Arabs here didn't let the Jews to build the synagogues, but by the order of the Ottomans, they had no other choice. But there are few rules. First of all, it's supposed to be lower than the houses. Secondly, they must build it as a mosque as well. Here you can see the mihrab. When you actually had to pray, when a Muslim pray through Mecca, then you know that Mecca is there. The Jews are praying toward the Temple Mount, which is right there. All right, that's the time for me to drink something. Then, are you waiting? Yes. While you're waiting, don't worry, it will take less than 1 second. Please subscribe my channel. I am still live and kicking. I want to show you something, especially for the Christian followers. Look at the stickers say here. It said, "Wake up, Son of David, King, the Messiah. Welcome, King Messiah." The Christian will say, all right, he actually resurrected many years ago, 2,000 years ago. This is Jesus. But for the Jews, Jesus is not the Messiah. Messiah will be a man or a woman who will get a mission from God. For example, King Solomon was a Messiah. He was anointed, and that's the meaning of the word Messiah, by the order of God and the water of Jerusalem. And his mission was to build the Jewish temple. Why Jesus cannot be a Messiah? Mainly, the main reason is that he's Son of God and God, and the Jews will never accept it. God, a man, God is invisible. We are going back to the ruined synagogue, and this is the nickname of the synagogue been destroyed twice by the Muslims. By the way, it sounds like I'm so against people now. That is not true. I believe that in every time when a city been occupied by someone, or not only here, all over the world, some people, some part of the city are demolished, and new parts were built on top of it. Here as well, the Israelis destroyed part of the city, and you will see it soon. We will turn right at Bethel Street, Bethel Road. To show you something. It's a small, beautiful alley, I must say, and not so touristy, as you can see. If you look to your right side, you will see a beautiful gate of one of the four Sephardic synagogues. Beautiful, isn't it? It's, see, Bet, the house, Knesset. community, but together Bet Knesset is synagogue, Eliyahu, Elisha, and Navi, the prophet. When the Jordanians kick out everyone from the city that was, remember, under siege, they didn't let the people to take their dead with them. The Jews cannot bury the dead in inside the city. I mean, if you're talking about Jesus, you know it too. That's why the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the tomb of him were outside the city. Today it's under it's inside the city, but it was to be outside. Look at that. One of the rivals of the people of the Jews who try to protect that place without any success. I don't know if it's a original one, but will give you an opportunity to understand what's happened there. And I can hear some noise, then I think that the place that I want to reach might be crowded now, maybe not. Now let's continue, please.
Yeah. No one else would do that.
Yeah. I can hear that tikva. Yes, I believe we're going to have a ceremony here in about less than an hour. And this is a Jewish Quarter Defenders Monument. Remember, the Jews cannot be buried inside the city, but they had no other choice than, I think, 14 of them been buried here. One of them was a child. He was only 10 years old. And in 1967, when we came back, we buried them at Mount of Olives, very close to Dominus Flavit Church. The Lord wept. I think there were more than 14, let me ask them, and 34 people have been buried here, and one of them was a 10 years old child. He's in Guinea. He's now buried, all of them are buried now at Mount of Olives, but that used to be the burial site until 1967, between 1948 and 1967. Look at the beautiful school here. Yeah, it's remember, they're dividing it to girls' school and boys' school. We're talking about religious people, but look how beautiful is that building that was built for the Jewish community because they suffer of a lack of money. They were poor and lack of hygiene places. Then people actually could get an apartment with a toilet and a kitchen for 3 years. Today it's a school. It's called Batei Mahasid. And here you can see a little bit of the, after the fall of the Jewish Quarter, residents near the destroyed Rothschild House, which is behind you. And they said here that from this quarter, 30 soldiers and 260 civilians were taken into Jordanian's captivity. The remaining residents of the quarter were deported to the new city. Their home were pillaged, and yeah, but all right. The synagogues were destroyed, except of the 4 synagogues that you saw. It actually became to be stable. But because it became to be stable, when we came back in 1967, we could turn it into a synagogue. Then, although it's from the 16th century, it's still old. Everyone are wearing white because of the Memorial Day, and it's so beautiful to see that girls and boys are playing together. You can see the stickers on the shirt. This is part of I'm part of the memorial site. About who is taking part of that memorial. They, the ultra-Orthodox Jews, not all of them will be part of the memorial. Okay, but let me be quiet now. Oh, it's a beautiful song. You have to be here at Hanukkah, the Candle Broom holiday festival. This is something special to see. They will light the candle broom in every place. If I remember correctly, from here it's better. No, from here we are going straight to one of the residence houses. Oh, from here too. No, we have to go. No, I know that. No, let's continue straight. Sorry. Here it is. Yeah. Then at Hanukkah, the Jews are lighting candles, and every day they're lighting another candle. Altogether 8 candles, and the 9th one is the manager of it. And it's beautiful to see that they're taking everything outside. They're lighting the Hanukkah, the candle broom outside the houses. It's beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And you can watch it through my videos as well. And I promise to make another video of it this year. It's around December. The Temple Institute is a very important, but I'm a bit afraid of them. They're very important because they actually already knows how to build the third temple, and this is the biggest fear of the Muslims here, because that's what they are planning to do, to build it. But this is a minority. But it's a beautiful museum. You can study a lot about how the Jewish temple used to be there. Then a lot of evangelists, a lot of Christians, a lot of Jews are visiting that center. It's a beautiful center. Soon, one day, we will have an elevator. It will take us all the way down to the Western Wall. But meanwhile, we will have to walk. You can see the 2 soldiers that are heading to the ceremony. I hope that this time they will let me enter with a camera and it won't be a private ceremony, because last year it wasn't. But last year I didn't take a picture of it, a video of it. You can see Mount of Olives in front of you. The Ascension Church is there, and this is the Jewish cemetery from the time of King David until now. But I want you to look at that. Can you see the tents? Remember the 34 Jews who've been buried in the old city? That is the burial site, and in 11 a.m. you will hear 2 minutes of siren, and the ceremonies will begin all over, and it will begin there as well. Meanwhile, you can see part of the Temple Mount. It was built by King Herod. This is Al-Aqsa Mosque. which wasn't built by King Herod. The Temple Mount is a very important place because the foundation stone is there, the first rock ever, and some of the stories happen on top of it. For example, King Solomon was asked by God to build a temple there, and then the temple of King Herod was there too. Then this is the house of God, and this is a huge difference between a synagogue to a church. Every church is a house of God. A synagogue is not a house of God. Today it's a house of prayer, but the house of God is there. And then you will see the Dome of the Rock, the place that according to tradition Muhammad ascended into heaven, but for the Jews it's the house of God. I think now you can understand the tension between Muslims and Jews. Why the Christians are not worried? Why for them the Temple Mount is not so important? Because remember, every church is a house of God, but for the Jews it's the only house of God. Are you ready to see one of the most beautiful landscape of the Western Wall? Guess what? Eyal is still here. Let me kick him away. I don't want to disturb Eyal. I will stand a little bit further than that. Yeah, I will be able to be part of the ceremony. You can see here Mount of Olives and the corner of the southern and the western wall of the temple. Al-Aqsa Mosque, according to Muslims, Muhammad came to Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a far, far away mosque, and he went all the way to the foundation stone, ascended into heaven. But the foundation stone, which is Dome of the Rock of today, for the Jews is the only important place, because this is the house of God himself. The wooden bridge is the only option for non-Muslims to climb that, to enter the Temple Mount. You can do it twice a day, not including Friday and Saturday and Muslim holidays. But you cannot go into the Temple Mount. You cannot go into the Dome of the Rock. But you can make a round tour. I do have so many videos about it. Let's enter to the Western Wall through the barrier area. I won't be able to take a picture of it, but they will check everything that you have. Then they will scan your bags and your body as well. Then let me enter. There are lots of rules how to behave in the Western Wall. Then shorts is, for men it's everything is okay. For women it's less. No drums, no musical instruments. You cannot light candles there. It's not a picnic area. And I will stop the video for a minute. All right, 40 minutes. Wow. Then I'm here at the Western Wall. Let me ask you, מה השעה עכשיו? Sorry. Let me see, what's the time now? Because it's 11 o'clock. סליחה, מה השעה? What's the time now?
It's 10:25.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we do have time. Then can we talk about the Western Wall? I already talked a little bit about it. The Western Wall is a foundation wall that King Herod built to build a plaza, and on top of the plaza, he could build the Jewish quarter, the Jewish temple that was between 2 to 3 times higher and bigger than the Dome of the Rock. The foundation stone is so small, and that's why he had to build that plaza, and now the Muslims are using it. 7 stones from down to up is from the time of King Herod. Then if you're a Christian, Jew, Muslim, when you will enter there, you will be able to touch history. Everyone can go there 24 hours a day, except for yesterday. A few things that are you will see only today. The first one, you can see, wow, we have to see that. They're switching. One of them is from the Navy, and the other one is from Air Force. I'm crying now. Because we didn't understand, or we still don't understand, that killing people is totally not necessary in every place in the world, not only in Israel, in Palestine, in Ukraine, in Russia, every place in the world, most of the. And here you can see the name of some of the 24,000 people who actually died. That's Cohen, priest from priest family. And to the left you can see the word Yizkor, remember. Every person who died all over the world because of, I call it a war crime, because every war is a crime for me. Although from time to time people believe that there are no other option. It is so sad because he's not only dying, his family dies with him. And it doesn't matter if he was a good person, a bad person, and still it makes me so sad. Then you can see that the flag is not on top. This is part of the memorial in Israel. And soldiers are here for, I think, for 15 minutes or half an hour. It's not easy, especially when it's quite hot. Let me ask them if it's... תחלופה זה כל חצי שעה או רבע שעה? 20 דקות. Every 20 minutes. Then you are... I think now we can understand why that tour is a little bit political, because it's a memorial day. It's a memorial day, and I will be, not everyone will be happy to hear it. It's a memorial day for the Jordanian soldiers who died here, the Arabs who died here, because war, it's always conflict of two parts. Yes, it is true that we had no other choice here in Israel, but did we reach any agreement? Yes, with the Jordanians we did. From the 80s I can visit Jordan, but a few days ago a parliament Jordanian member, I'm talking about a member of the parliament of Jordan, tried to sneak into Israel with hundreds of pistols. He wanted to deliver it to the Hamas terror organization. Life is not so easy. Then we will continue. If it's still okay by you, and if you don't hate me for that kind of tour, you can see that bucket. We are purifying the hands when we enter to holy site. And for everyone, usually when you will arrive to Israel, it's going to be hot. Please refill your bottles and drink as much as you can. To enter, you have to put a yarmulke on your head. A yarmulke, another word for it, it's a kippah, will divide us from him. The Jews are praying straight to God. We don't need a priest or rabbi for that. Then there's always a stand next to it, and if you will touch it, you can see that people didn't use it. Then here it is, a new kippah. I'm bringing it back mainly because I do have hundreds like that in my house, and until I will bring all of them back, I have no permit to enter with another one, and I need to do that. I will be here at 11 o'clock for the siren of 2 minutes. But meanwhile, let's visit a little bit the place. Remember, just like the children schools, the Jews, most of them are divided men and women. Then this is the men's section. Sadly, I cannot enter to the women's section, but let me show it to you. That's the women's section. That's the ugly wooden bridge that non-Muslims can enter through it to the temple. Remember, 7 stones from down to up is from the time of Jesus. You look at the beautiful stones. He didn't use cement. And you see there's a gap between each stone. And look at the frame. And I don't want to talk now. You saw the notes that people are living at the Western Wall. It's wishes that everyone wants to wish to God. The minute it touch the Western Wall, they cannot throw it to the garbage. Even the one that falls to the ground, they will collect it at least twice a year, and they will bury it at Mount of Olives. I might cut that part of the video because now it's already 50 minutes. Part of the Western Wall because of the memorial site might be part of a long video and part of Amen. And part that's a Kaddish. I'm not supposed to talk at that part. This is the hidden part of the Western Wall. At 11 o'clock, as I believe, will be some Orthodox Jews that won't stand for 2 minutes because they see Israel as a different place, a different thing. It wasn't established by God, it was established by the Zionists, and in that case, they don't even think about the one who actually fell to protect themselves. It's air conditioned in summertime and cool in winter time, warm in winter time, but only men can be here. Although here, Orthodox women can enter, but regular women, like my tourists, cannot. This is part of a bridge that King Herod built that brought the aqueduct from the upper city, outside Jerusalem, to the temple. And this is an arches that vault that were built by the Muslims. The Muslims, thank God, didn't destroy the ancient evidence. They just built arches on top of it, and then they built that Muslim quarter on top of it. Then what's left for us to do is to excavate beneath the Muslim quarter and to reach every part of the Western Wall. Let me show you another part that most of the tourists are not aware of it. Then that's why it's a little bit empty today, because the Jews the ultra-Orthodox who are against Memorial Day try not to be here. It's difficult to see, but there's another 12 meters of the Western Wall. And the light shows us the floor from the 1st century. 50 minutes of, I think, a very important detail tour. I think you know a lot about the Jewish quarter and the old city of Jerusalem and the Western Wall. I'm sure that there are more to say, but this is my time to rest before the memorial. Oh, look at the birds. Where are you? Ah, here you are. Are they fighting or they're trying to mate? Look at that one. That's why I'm not going to move from here. Then thank you for being with me, and see you at my next video. Bye bye.